Hi, my name is Wendy and welcome to Creation Depot. And today we're going to be talking about how to write an About Me page, like actually write it. So, the first thing you want to do is look at examples. And I actually did pull up the Kohls website, and Kohls has a notoriously slow website. Kohls, fix your stuff. But basically, what it is I want to show you they do a very good job with their about information. And not only from a designer standpoint, but they actually go through and they answer like the emotional questions. And so what I want to talk about is when you write your About Me page, kind of what you really need to be thinking about in terms of connecting with your customer. Now, in previous videos, we have talked about like the generic, like what not to do, what like don't write an essay, that kind of thing. You want it to be very visually stream, like you want to be able to scan that page and get to the information you need. And then if they're looking for that deeper thought later, have them click off to a site that really gets into the nitty gritty about what your site's about or your company's about. But what I wanted to talk about is like kind of the ideas to get your train moving a little bit, like to be thinking about it. So on a very basic level, you want to answer the questions about what you do. It could be, I make sneakers. Like if I'm Nike, I'm going to use Nike for this example, even though I'm going to show you a Kohls website. But for the very basic level, answer the question, what do you do? As in, what do you sell? What service do you provide? Very basic. Next question, who do you do it for? And you could say, I sell to everybody in the world. Well, you don't. You sell to a subset of those people. You know, who is your customer? Who do you do it for? What is the reason, right? And I'm sorry, who do you do it for? Next question is the reason. Why do you do it? Like for profit is okay. You just need to frame it in a different way. You can't say, because I want all the money. Like it doesn't work that way. Like you have to actually kind of get into it a little bit. So like, yeah, Nike does do it for profit, but they say that they do it for the athlete, right? They create better products so that athletes can perform better. So they do it for the sports world. That is their thing, right? And they have encased their entire marketing around that. So that's why they do it. They do it for the customer. They do it for, and you can use that language, just rephrase it for whatever industry you're in. Say, I do it for the customer so the customer can do XYZ better. You know, we build better pools so they can have more fun. I think I'd be better doing these on the fly. We build better pianos so that your concerts can sound amazing. We build better cell phones because we want to be able to connect the world, that kind of thing. You know, it's like, yeah, you do it for money, but what is the reason? And your reason is customer, so customer can do this. Like that's your equation, right? So the next thing that I try to get you guys to go do is to talk about your approach. So your approach is your design process. So your first process is going to be, you know, we have all these checkpoints to get through and do this one thing, I'll do it for websites. All right, so that way I'm not stumbling around for an example. The way that you do it for a website is that in your design process, you figure out what all the pieces are. Right, you go through and you grill the customer. You figure out everything that they can ever teach you about, you know, selling fish hooks, right? Like you need them to tell you everything about it. What's different about this one? What's this like? You know, educate you as though you are the newbie that you are, right? And then as you go through and you line, okay, what's important? What would a customer think that this is important over this? Like you get all the nitty gritty, and then you figure out, okay, if I am a fisherman and I'm coming to this site and I want to work on this, what are the things that I'm going to want to see? Well, it's probably going to be the different types of hooks, like they're going to be in different categories. Okay, so I want to divide it out into categories. And then if I come to this one, I want to figure out more information about this. Like, you see what I mean? Like that's the design process. You figure out the nitty gritty and then you build on it. And then once you build on it, you put together a mock-up, you put together a wireframe. And then after you do the wireframe, you put together the mock-up. And then after you do the mock-up, then you get the approval. Once you get the approval and you've done the design iterations, the back and forth, then you do the development. And then once you get the development, you do testing. Once you did the testing and you fixed up the edits from the testing. And then once you get the testing done and you're good to go, you're ready to launch, then you launch. And then you do the testing after the launch to make sure nothing is broken. And then after you do the testing, then you release it into the wild and you're done. And you just do feedback in a couple weeks to see, you know, where anybody's getting stuck, because now your focus group is much, much larger. So there's inevitably something that comes up, you know, something that nobody has thought of, and you have to go in and fix it. It's just part of the game. So that's the design process for a website designer. So you got to figure out what that is for you, right? And then you want to include that in your information. And then as far as your backstory, nobody needs to know every little thing about your high school. You know, it's like your backstory, even though it may have started in some kind of like deep emotional space, you want people to connect with you, but you don't want them to be like, oh my God, too much information, you know, because one, they're not going to read it. And two, if they do read it, you want them to have a phoenix rising out of the ashes kind of story. You don't want them to be like, I don't know if I want to do business with this person because I don't want to be sucked into this negativity or this, you know, drama or whatever. So just keep whatever it is light, like you're telling the information to a stranger, because you are, even though you might be writing this big diatribe, it needs to be scannable and light, right? Now, this is where I want to show you Kohls. Now, Kohls and I love Kohls. I love Kohls too much, but I want to say their website has always been terrible. This, like, their corporate website sucks. The main website sucks. They've got too many ads running on it, and it's constantly flipping out and whatever. But they did a good job on their proposals. So this is Kohls corporate company like site. And the reason it keeps jumping is that anytime I loop over here, it tries to pop down a menu. So if you see all the jumping, this is what I meant. Their website sucks. But if you scroll down here, like I think there's supposed to be an image here. It's not loading. Anyway, focus, Wendy. The greatness agenda. And then I didn't bother to read this because it's a whole lot of text, but down here, they are values. This is kind of the line you want to follow, but you see how they bolded certain parts. So if I was just somebody that was just trying to figure out, you know, do I want to work with this company? I could be, we put customers first. That sounds good. We act with integrity. Sounds good too. We build, great teams. Yes. We drive results. Perfect. That's exactly what I want to hear. So see how they have taken a larger amount of text and they have made it succinct in a way because they bolded these parts. That's great. This would be even better if it was broken up into 4 things. Like this first part was in one column, then the second part was in another column. This was their column and the 4th column, so that when somebody reads it, they're reading smaller chunks. So they'll probably get through the whole thing. You say our values, this is the header. That's what I mean from a design perspective. This is great. This is awesome. It could be a little bit better, but this is the, whoa, that is a lot of thunder. I don't know if that came up on the camera, but that was like right there. Anyway, so that's how you develop a backstory. So you want to have it be very light, very accessible. And then we talk about your design process. You want it to be very succinct. And then you also want your backstory to be, or your values rather, to be very direct and to the point. Like, I think this is a little long. This could be like here and be perfect. So I think that this copy needs to be a little shorter, but as far as like being able to read through it really quickly, they did well. They did a good job here, and that's why I wanted to show it. And then as far as the rest of the stuff on the about page, it's the rest of the about page is all call to action stuff. So that's just going to be whatever you're trying to promote at the time. But how to write a good about page, it's got to be very, very brief. Like, nobody's going to read an essay, but they will read an essay that you break out into parts. You know, it's got to be really light and easy to get through. So when you write your essay, if that's like the way that you get the information out, write the essay. But then when you go back through, it'd be like, okay, this sentence is important. This sentence is important. This is like, you know, dissect it. Like, what are the key points? What is the subject? What is the individual like stories that are inside the larger story? Take those out and make those individual chunks. And then that should be your About Us page, your backstory page. All right. I hope that helps you out. Please like and subscribe. Do ring the bell so that you get the next notification. And I'll see you in the last one, which is where we talk about the generator. It's awesome. I can't wait to share it with you guys. It's so exciting. Like, I worked so hard on this thing. But it's going to come with a mock-up. It's going to come with a generator for the mock-up. It will like even come with a video to show you how to put the mock-up into WordPress. Like, it's like a whole thing. I'm very proud of it. I'm very excited about it. So like and subscribe, ring the bell so that you get that notification, and that's it. Take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye.